Welcome back to Quarter Dollar, where today we're unlocking the hidden fortunes behind some of the most valuable state quarters ever struck. What looks like ordinary pocket change could secretly be worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. From shocking mint errors to rare proof strikes, these coins have stunned collectors at auction and turned everyday finds into unbelievable treasures. So grab that jar of change because you just might be sitting on a life-changing discovery. And if you love uncovering coin secrets and rare finds, make sure to subscribe right here so you never miss the next big reveal. First up, we have the 2004 Iowa State Quarter, and at first glance, it might look like just another common coin from the change in your pocket. But don't be fooled. This simple piece of metal has shocked collectors by reaching extraordinary values when the right conditions and errors line up. Let's break it down. The Iowa Quarter was released in 2004 to honor the state's history, featuring an image of a one-room schoolhouse and children planting a tree based on a design by artist Grant Wood. The words "Foundation and Education" are proudly displayed above, reminding us of Iowa's commitment to learning. On the surface, it's a beautiful design, but here's where the story gets interesting. Hidden varieties and minting quirks have made certain Iowa quarters worth small fortunes. Now, the coin you see here has clear circulation wear, scratches, nicks, and a duller surface. In this condition, most examples would trade hands for about face value, maybe a slight premium if someone is filling a state quarter album, but when you find one in mint state with a sharp strike and no distracting marks, that's when collectors start paying real money. A gem uncirculated Iowa quarter graded MS68 has been known to sell for over $1,500, and that's just for condition alone, no errors involved, but it gets better. Some Iowa quarters from the Philadelphia Mint, like this one with the P mint mark on the obverse, were struck on improperly prepared planchets, leading to weak strikes or double details. And these error coins, depending on severity, can range from a few $100s all the way into the thousands. One dramatic example with a misaligned die error shocked collectors when it crossed $6,000 at auction. The real heavy hitters, though, come from the rare 90% silver-proof strikes, which were never intended for circulation. A flawless Iowa silver proof, graded PR70, can command over $4,000. And if you're lucky enough to stumble upon one that slipped into circulation by accident, you've got a treasure in your hands. Add in die clashes, off-center strikes, and double dies, and suddenly we're talking staggering numbers. Some estimates push the top-end Iowa error quarters into the $50,000 to $100,000 range, depending on condition and demand. Think about that for a second. What most people see as pocket change could secretly be a life-changing discovery, and that's exactly why collectors check every single quarter that passes through their hands. And so if you've got a 2004 Iowa State Quarter, take a closer look. Is it well struck? Does it show doubling in the lettering or date? Could it be a proof coin that somehow escaped into the wild? These details are what separate a common 25-cent piece from a jaw-dropping auction star, and believe me, collectors are hunting for them nonstop. Next up, we'll move on to another state quarter that has shocked the coin world with values reaching even higher than this one. But before we get there, if you're enjoying this journey through America's hidden treasures, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another chance to uncover the coins that could be hiding in your very own pocket. Next up, we arrive in New England with the 1999 Connecticut State Quarter. And let me tell you, this one is a true masterpiece of design. Even in fine condition, where the coin shows clear signs of circulation, the details still shine through. On the reverse, you'll see the legendary Charter Oak, a sprawling centuries-old tree that became a symbol of American independence and defiance back in the 1600s. According to history, Connecticut colonists hid their royal charter inside that oak tree to keep it safe from British authorities. And on this quarter, that bold act of resistance is immortalized forever. At first glance, a circulated Connecticut quarter may not look like much. You'll notice the branches of the tree spreading across nearly the entire surface, with fine lines crisscrossing like veins. But here's the kicker. Because of that intricate design, this coin is especially prone to minting mistakes. Doubling in the branches, shifts in the strike, or even filled dies where details appear faint or missing all create valuable errors that collectors go crazy for. Even in fine condition, a noticeable double die error can take a 25-cent coin and turn it into something worth $500 to $2,000. And when those errors are bold and dramatic, the value can skyrocket. Some examples of Connecticut error quarters have brought in $10,000 or more simply because the branches looked doubled or misaligned in ways that were obvious even to the naked eye. But that's just scratching the surface. When you move to uncirculated examples, the Connecticut quarter has stunned the collecting world. Perfectly struck versions graded MS-68 or higher have crossed auction blocks for more than $25,000. Think about that. A coin that most people tossed into piggy banks back in 1999, now commanding the kind of money that could pay for a year of college tuition. And if you add in a rare, dramatic error, the stakes climb even higher. Some misstruck Connecticut quarters have been valued at $200,000 to $400,000, all because of unique minting accidents combined with that iconic Charter Oak design. The beauty of this coin is that the design itself makes it both challenging and fascinating for collectors. The tree's endless branches mean there are countless places where doubling or striking flaws can appear. And because it was one of the first quarters released in the state program, people saved millions of them. But the rarest of the rare, the coins that slipped through with striking errors or flawless surfaces, are now treasures hiding among the ordinary. So if you have a Connecticut quarter in fine condition, take a close look at those branches. Are some of them thicker than others? Do you see any strange lines running through the date or the words e pluribus unum? Even in a worn coin, those clues can reveal a mistake from the U.S. Mint that transforms a common quarter into a jackpot find. That's what makes this coin so thrilling. The idea that something as simple as a tree on a small coin could grow into a fortune for the lucky collector who spots it. The Delaware quarter gave us history. California wowed us with natural beauty. Nevada stunned us with wild Mustangs. But Connecticut brings us a symbol of defiance and a shocking value scale that keeps climbing. And you won't believe the surprises waiting in the very next coin. Next up, we have the 2013 Fort McHenry quarter from Maryland, a coin that not only celebrates a historic site, but also carries with it the possibility of turning an ordinary find into an extraordinary payday. The reverse design shows Fort McHenry with fireworks lighting the sky, a tribute to the fort's role in the War of 1812 when it inspired Francis Scott Key to write the Star-Spangled Banner. On the obverse, we see Washington's familiar portrait with the P mint mark for Philadelphia. At first glance, the coin here shows signs of circulation, surface wear, dulling, and some light scratches. In this grade, it's worth around face value. But collectors chase these coins in pristine condition, and that's where the story changes. A high-grade example graded MS-68 has sold for well over $1,800. Even lower mint state grades like MS-66 can bring in $50 to $100, showing that quality alone can dramatically change the value of this quarter. But here's where things get fascinating. Errors. The Fort McHenry quarter has been found with dramatic off-center strikes, double dies in the fireworks detail, and even missing clad layer errors where the copper core shows through. Those oddities can fetch thousands, with spectacular pieces selling in the $5,000 to $15,000 range. One particularly dramatic off-center strike stunned collectors when it sold for close to $20,000 at auction. Then there are the silver proofs. Collectors who bought the 2013 silver proof sets got 90% silver Fort McHenry quarters, and in flawless PR70 condition, these coins are worth $3,000 to $5,000. But imagine stumbling across one of those proofs in circulation, something that has happened before when sets were broken apart or coins accidentally released. That kind of find could easily reach into the $25,000 to $50,000 range, depending on condition and demand. It's also worth noting that this coin tells a patriotic story, which gives it emotional appeal. Coins that tie into America's identity often gain more traction among collectors, boosting long-term value. Combine that with its relatively low survival rate in top condition and the strong appeal of dramatic errors, and you have a recipe for six-figure surprises. So if you're sifting through change and spot fireworks exploding above Fort McHenry, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment to examine the details. A small doubling in the lettering or a slightly misaligned strike could be your clue that you're holding a quarter worth far more than 25 cents. And the journey doesn't stop here. Next up, we'll uncover another state quarter that shocked the market with unbelievable values and continues to thrill collectors today. If you're enjoying this ride through America's hidden treasures, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a chance to discover the next coin that could change everything. Next up, we have the 2008 New Mexico State Quarter, a coin that carries the proud nickname of the Land of Enchantment. On its reverse, we see the outline of the state with the ancient Zia sun symbol radiating from the center, representing harmony, balance, and life itself. This design is striking, but what makes this coin so valuable to collectors goes far beyond its artwork. The quarter in front of us shows circulation wear with dull fields and small marks across both the obverse and reverse. In this condition, it might only fetch a modest premium, maybe $1 or $2. But when these coins appear in top mint state condition, the values change dramatically. For example, an MS-68 New Mexico quarter has sold for over $1,500 at auction, proving that sharp strikes and pristine surfaces are highly sought after by collectors. But what truly pushes this coin into the spotlight are the errors. Some of the most famous New Mexico quarters feature double dies, particularly noticeable in the lettering around the edges and in the Zia sun symbol. These can be worth hundreds to thousands, depending on the clarity of the doubling. Off-center strikes and missing clad layer errors have also been discovered, with prices jumping from $5,000 to $15,000 for dramatic pieces. One of the most fascinating varieties is the New Mexico quarter struck on a foreign planche. A handful of coins were accidentally struck on smaller or thinner metal discs intended for coins of other countries. Those extremely rare mint mistakes can fetch $25,000 or more when authenticated and graded. And let's not forget about the silver proof issues. In flawless PR70 condition, these proofs often reach $3,000 to $5,000, but if a proof somehow makes its way into circulation, the rarity factor can send values into the high five figures, sometimes even brushing $75,000 to $100,000 at auction. Collectors also love this coin because New Mexico was one of the later states added to the Union, making the 2008 issue part of the closing chapter of the State Quarter series. That historical context adds emotional weight, and emotional weight often translates into higher prices when collectors are competing to complete their sets. So before you overlook a quarter with the Zia symbol, remember that what seems ordinary could be hiding extraordinary value. Check for doubling, misaligned strikes, or unusual weight. Each small detail could mean the difference between 25 cents and tens of thousands of dollars. And the adventure doesn't end here. Coming up next, we'll look at another state quarter that has blown past expectations and proven that even pocket change can rival the value of rare treasures. If you're excited by what you're hearing, don't forget to subscribe because the next coin might just shock you even more. Next up, we have the 2006 Nebraska State Quarter, one of the most iconic designs in the State Quarter program. On its reverse, we see Chimney Rock rising dramatically above the prairie with a covered wagon train passing by under the blazing sun. This image captures the spirit of westward expansion and the hardships of pioneers making their way across the Great Plains. But what makes this coin truly remarkable isn't just its history, it's the shocking values that certain examples can bring at auction. The coin shown here has heavy circulation wear. The details in the wagon, the oxen, and Chimney Rock are softened, and Washington's portrait on the obverse shows plenty of scratches and marks. In this condition, it's worth about face value, maybe a little more if someone is looking to fill a folder. But uncirculated examples tell a completely different story. Coins graded MS-67 or higher have reached over $1,500, and the elusive MS-68 Nebraska quarter once stunned collectors when it sold for nearly $3,000. Now let's talk about errors, because Nebraska quarters are notorious for them. Some of the most exciting discoveries include double die reverses where the rays of the sun appear doubled, creating a dramatic, eye-catching effect. Others have been struck off-center, leaving blank crescent-shaped gaps along the rim, and those examples can sell for $5,000 to $10,000 depending on condition. Then there are the missing clad layer errors, where part of the nickel coating is absent, exposing the copper core. Those have sold in the $15,000 to $25,000 range for dramatic examples. And just like with other states, the silver-proof versions add another layer of value. A flawless PR-70 Nebraska silver-proof quarter can command $3,000 to $5,000, but if one ever slipped into circulation, its rarity could easily catapult it into six-figure territory. Collectors prize those finds because they combine rarity, condition, and the emotional power of history all in one. This coin is also popular because it taps into a uniquely American story. Chimney Rock was a landmark for thousands of pioneers traveling the Oregon, California, and Mormon trails. That connection to our nation's past makes it more than just a coin. It's a small piece of American heritage, and when heritage meets rarity, the value goes through the roof. So next time you come across a Nebraska state quarter, don't just think of it as spare change. Look closely at those sun rays, the wagon wheels, and even the edges. A small error or high-grade example could mean you're holding something worth thousands, or maybe even a once-in-a-lifetime six-figure treasure. And we're not done yet. Coming up, we'll dive into another state quarter that shocked collectors with extraordinary values, proving once again that the coins in your pocket could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Would you like me to continue with the sixth coin script once you share its picture? Next up, we have the 2000 Massachusetts State Quarter, a coin that proudly showcases the Bay State and honors its deep Revolutionary War heritage. The design features a Minuteman standing strong against the backdrop of the Massachusetts outline, symbolizing the courage and spirit that fueled America's independence. To collectors, though, this quarter isn't just about history. It's about shocking hidden value. The coin in front of us shows circulation wear with soft details in the Minuteman's figure and light spotting on Washington's portrait. In this state, it trades close to face value, maybe slightly more to someone filling out a collection. But when you find a pristine example, especially one graded MS-68, you're looking at something that has sold for over $3,000 at auction. Even MS-67 coins consistently bring in several $100s, proving that condition alone can push values dramatically higher. But what really excites collectors are the errors and varieties. Massachusetts quarters are known for some dramatic minting mistakes, including double dies that make parts of the lettering or the Minuteman's musket appear doubled. Off-center strikes are another collectible favorite, and those can range from $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the severity. And then there are the wrong planche errors, cases where the Massachusetts design was accidentally struck on a nickel or dime planche. These ultra-rare pieces have stunned bidders with final prices well over $25,000. Silver-proof examples add another dimension to the story. The 2000 silver proofs struck in 90% silver are worth $3,000 to $5,000 in flawless PR-70 condition. And if one of these ever slipped into circulation, the combination of rarity, precious metal content, and collector demand could easily drive the value into six-figure territory. This coin is also deeply symbolic. Massachusetts is where the American Revolution truly ignited, and coins that tie into such foundational events in our history tend to resonate emotionally with collectors. Emotional appeal often drives intense competition at auction, which is why this quarter, even more than many others, has shocked the collecting world with its realized prices. So next time you spot a Massachusetts state quarter with the proud Minuteman on the reverse, don't dismiss it as pocket change. Look closely for sharp strikes, proof finishes, or unusual mint errors, because that coin in your hand might not just be worth 25 cents. It could be a ticket to thousands or maybe even a once-in-a-lifetime six-figure jackpot. And the surprises don't stop here. Coming up, we'll uncover another state quarter that collectors are chasing with a passion, and its value may just leave you speechless. Would you like me to continue with the seventh coin script once you share its picture? Next up, we have the 2017 Indiana George Rogers Clark Quarter, one of the America the Beautiful series coins that stands out with its bold and action-packed design. On the reverse, you see Clark and his men advancing with determination, rifles in hand, representing the Revolutionary War heroes' daring campaigns in the Western frontier. This is not just a coin, it's a tribute to courage, and for collectors, it can be a gateway to incredible value. The coin here shows obvious circulation wear with dull surfaces, scratches, and softened detail in the soldiers' faces and uniforms. And in this condition, it typically trades hands for it on a face value. But the story takes a dramatic turn when you look at pristine examples. In MS-68 condition, the George Rogers Clark Quarter has already sold for around $2,000, and even MS-67 examples bring in hundreds. That's a far cry from 25 cents. But what really fuels the frenzy are the errors. This quarter has been discovered with off-center strikes, broad strikes where the coin metal expanded beyond its rim, and some fascinating double dies, especially in the lettering of E pluribus unum and the date. Those errors can range anywhere from $5,000 for more common double dies to upwards of $20,000 for extreme off-center or misstruck examples. There are also missing clad layer pieces known, which expose the copper core underneath the nickel surface. Those dramatic errors in high grade have pulled in as much as $30,000 at auction. And let's not forget the collector-only silver proof versions. The 2017 silver proofs in PR70 deep cameo condition can bring $3,000 to $5,000. And if one ever entered circulation unnoticed, as has happened with other proofs before, it could easily become a $50,000 to $100,000 rarity overnight. This coin also benefits from being relatively modern. Because it's recent, most people assume there's no value in it, but that's what makes the surprise so powerful. Collectors love modern rarities, and they're willing to pay astonishing amounts to own standout examples. So, when you come across a George Rogers Clark quarter, don't dismiss it. Check the strike, look closely for doubling, and weigh it if you suspect something unusual. A simple mistake at the mint could transform what looks like a common quarter into a treasure worth tens of thousands. Next up, we have the 2005 California State Quarter, and this one is a true beauty both in design and in collectible potential. On the reverse, you see John Muir, the legendary naturalist, gazing at the iconic granite monolith of Yosemite Valley with a soaring California condor overhead. It perfectly captures the spirit of the Golden State and its natural wonders. But as with so many quarters, the real story lies in the values that certain examples have reached, and they are nothing short of shocking. The coin here shows clear signs of circulation, softened details in John Muir's figure, dull fields, and some surface discoloration on Washington's portrait. In this grade, it's worth little more than face value. But uncirculated versions of the California quarter can fetch staggering prices. In fact, an MS-68 example has sold for over $2,000, and collectors are always chasing these top-graded pieces. Now, the errors are where things really heat up. California quarters have been discovered with double dies, particularly visible in the words Yosemite Valley and E pluribus unum. Off-center strikes and broad strikes are also known, and those dramatic minting mistakes can range from $5,000 to $15,000. One extreme off-center strike combined with a partial missing clad layer shocked the market by selling for nearly $25,000. Then there's the silver proof issue, a flawless PR70 silver proof California quarter can command $3,000 to $5,000, and if one ever escaped into circulation, as has been reported with other states, that coin would immediately become a rarity worth $50,000 or more. Collectors love this coin not only because of its design, but because of its symbolism. California has always represented opportunity, adventure, and discovery. That emotional connection adds fuel to the fire when rare examples appear at auction, driving prices even higher. So if you ever come across a California quarter, don't just think of it as a reminder of Yosemite. Take a closer look at the details. Check for doubling, unusual weight, or misaligned strikes, because tucked inside this everyday piece of pocket change could be a discovery worth tens of thousands, maybe even six figures, under the right conditions. Next up, we have a true American classic, the 1976 Bicentennial quarter, struck to celebrate the 200th anniversary of American independence. This coin is instantly recognizable with its unique reverse design, showing a colonial drummer boy and a victory torch surrounded by stars. Unlike the regular Washington quarters, this one proudly carries the dual date 1776 to 1976. Millions of these were made, but don't be fooled. Some are worth shocking amounts of money. The coin here shows heavy circulation wear with discoloration and corrosion across both sides. In this condition, is only worth face value. But the story is very different when we start looking at pristine and rare examples. High-grade mint state bicentennial quarters in MS-67 or MS-68 can sell for several $1,000, with some exceeding $4,000. Collectors are especially hungry for top-end examples because most of these coins were heavily used in circulation. Now, here's where things get jaw-dropping. Bicentennial quarters were also struck in special 40% silver for collector sets. These silver issues in flawless PR70 condition can bring in $10,000 or more, and when rare mint errors appear, the values shoot through the roof. Double die, obverses, off-center strikes, and wrong Planchet errors are among the most sought after. Some of these error bicentennial quarters have shocked the market by reaching $50,000, $75,000, and in extreme cases, estimates push into the $100,000 plus territory. There's also a fascinating variety involving the drummer boy's drumlines appearing doubled, a striking error that makes collectors scramble. Coins with this feature, if authenticated and graded high, can fetch staggering premiums. Combine that with proof strikes and deep cameo finishes, and you've got one of the most desirable modern quarters in U.S. history. What makes this coin special is more than its design. It's the emotion tied to America's 200th birthday. Millions of Americans remember holding these coins as children, and nostalgia adds fuel to collector demand. That emotional connection paired with rarity and top condition creates prices that leave people speechless. So while most people think of the bicentennial quarter as a common keepsake, the truth is that some of them are treasures worth a small fortune. Always check the edge for silver, examine the details for doubling, and look closely at the strike. Because one of these patriotic drummer boy quarters could easily turn into the most valuable coin in your collection. Lastly, we have the 1999 Georgia State Quarter, one of the very first coins released in the groundbreaking State Quarter program. Its reverse proudly displays the outline of the state, a peach at the center, flanked by branches of live oak and a banner bearing Georgia's motto, Wisdom, Justice, Moderation. It's a simple design with powerful symbolism, but in the world of coin collecting, this quarter has stunned collectors with values that far exceed anything its creators imagined. The coin in front of us shows wear from circulation, the peach is softened, the motto's lettering isn't as sharp, and Washington's portrait bears scratches and dullness. In this condition, it's worth face value, maybe $1 or $2 to someone building a circulated set. But mint state examples tell a completely different story. In MS-68 condition, the Georgia State Quarter has sold for well over $2,500, and coins at MS-67 often bring hundreds. But here's where it gets truly fascinating. The error varieties. Some Georgia quarters were struck with misaligned dies, creating doubling in the motto and leaves. These double die errors can fetch thousands depending on how bold the doubling appears. Off-center strikes where part of the design is missing can sell for $10,000 to $20,000, while missing clad layer examples with the copper core exposed have shocked the market by selling for $25,000 or more. And just like with other states, the silver proof strikes add another layer of value. A flawless PR70 Georgia silver proof quarter can command $4,000 to $6,000, but if one ever entered circulation by mistake, it would instantly become a modern rarity that could soar into six figures. Collectors love these early state issues, and Georgia's peach design, symbolizing prosperity and pride, gives it emotional appeal that pushes prices even higher when rare examples appear at auction. Think about it, the very first year of the State Quarter program produced millions of coins, yet only a tiny fraction survive today in top grade or as error varieties. That scarcity is why ordinary pocket change can sometimes turn into extraordinary treasure. So if you're holding a Georgia State Quarter, look closely. That plain little peach could be the fruit that brings you a staggering payday. And with that, we wrap up our journey through 10 valuable state quarters that continue to shock collectors and surprise every day people who stumble upon them in their change. From early releases like Georgia and Connecticut to modern stunners like Fort McHenry and George Rogers Clark, these coins prove that history, artistry, and minting quirks can turn 25 cents into thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Before we close, let me remind you, if you've enjoyed uncovering these hidden treasures with me, make sure to subscribe so you never miss another story about coins that could be hiding in your very own pocket change. And don't forget to share in the comments if you found one of these quarters yourself. Your story might be the next one we tell right here on the channel.